So far today has been fairly busy. First thing I did is I changed out the wheel spacers on the tractor. Now originally when they were sent to me, they didn't fit and I had to machine them on the lathe to get them to fit on the tractor. That company sent me a brand new set and I was able to get those all swapped out. And then I ended up taking 19 gallons of used oil into town to recycle it, and on my way back I ended up stopping at our local agri-supply place, and I wanted to figure out what we were going to do to fertilize our hay fields and pastures. And you can see I ended up bringing home a fertilizer spreader. So that's what we're going to be doing here in a little bit, is we're going to try to spread all this out on our fields. So now that I finally got the new wheel spacers on the tractor, I called and arranged to have liquid ballast put inside of these tires. And that's basically, they're going to put beet juice and fill them up with beet juice, and that's heavier than water. So on this tractor, we're going to add just somewhere over 700 pounds per tire, so over 1,400 pounds is going to be added to this tractor. And on a 24 horsepower tractor, it's 310 pounds per tire, so 620 pounds total to the small tractor, and hopefully they should come and do this within the next week. So I did end up taking soil samples of the 12 acres in the front and of the hay fields, and what they needed was potash, and they needed a little bit of boron, and then they needed a lot of lime. So they all need to have their pH raised up closer to like 6.5, where it needs to be for pasture grasses. And that ended up being like somewhere around 2 tons of ag lime per acre, which is like way more than this spreader can hold. So they're going to come back at a later date. They're going to dump 24 tons up here at this front field, and then they're going to spread it out on this front field hopefully in the next couple weeks. So what we have in here is the potash, we have the boron, and then we've got some pelletized lime mixed in that as well. We're going to spread this out at 200 pounds per acre, and we have enough in here to do the front 12 acres and both hay fields. So this is ground driven, so I just need to release this lever here to engage it. And then we're going to try to run between 7 and 8 miles an hour for a 40-foot wide spread. And we're going to do 198 pounds per acre, which is 2 3/4. So we just need to adjust the gate opening to 2 3/4. So the only thing I should have to worry about is basically driving the right speed and driving in the right place. So I ended up downloading like a farm GPS navigator app. I had to pay like 10 bucks to try this out. Anyway, hopefully it works. It'll at least help keep me going in a straight line. This is nowhere going to be accurate like the tractors. I think the tractor GPSs are like accurate within like an inch, and I'll probably be lucky to stay within a few feet, but hopefully good enough that I spread this correctly. I should have used up 2/3 of what's in here. So as we look, you can see it's empty down here now and it's pushed up. I don't know if I've used quite 2/3 yet. So I just got done fertilizing the front 12 acres. Afterwards, I counted how many times I went down the field, and then I found out the total width of the field. And I found out I didn't go as many times as I should. My rows were too far apart from each other. And I know it didn't look right in the app. When I was looking at it, it showed me spreading out onto the road. So I kept shrinking the width down. and I kept shrinking it down until it looked like what I was actually spreading. But then once it's all done and said, I found out that the app, the reason why it didn't look right is because the app was in metric, and I had to change everything over to standard. I've got it all set up correctly now. So we'll try it on the hay fields. We'll see how it works with the correct values in there. Anything that's left in this spreader we'll come back and put on this field. All right, I got the east hayfield done. That actually went fairly well now that I've got the app set up correctly. I feel like I got good coverage this time. Still looks like we got plenty in the hopper. So let's go do the other hayfield. I'm about positive we'll have some left to put back on that 12 acres. So I just finished spreading this out on the hay fields. I do have a little bit left in here, so hopefully that is just enough to fill in between the rows I made earlier. So I don't think I've totally screwed up yet. I think I'll be able to salvage this. All right, I got done just in time. The sun set probably 10 minutes ago. I've still got enough light where I can go up and do the chores of the evening and get the animals put up. So it's been a couple days now since I spread the fertilizer on the field. I think after I've got the Field Navigator app set up on my phone correctly, I did get good coverage with the broadcast spreader. Now the problems I had was, one, at going 7.5, 8 miles an hour, the app did not update quick enough, so then you would overshoot where you were going. It'd probably work better if you were going at a slower pace. And then the other thing is, I don't think the accuracy was real great. It was probably somewhere between 5 to 15 feet in accuracy, but I think for the broadcast spreading, it was probably good enough, especially on a field like this. When you go over it, you can't tell where you've been. It's not like you have freshly plowed dirt to look at. Everything still looks the same after you go over it. So I think as far as the broadcasting goes, the application did end up helping me probably spread it more evenly than what I would have without it. So this last week we had some fairly windy storms, and one evening Rebecca noticed something out here in the yard that was like reflecting. She could see it shining back at her. We went out there to see what it was, and it was this. This is the chimney cap off of the top of the chimney of the workshop. So I'm going to go ahead and climb up there, see if I can get this put on before I start my day. So it fell from up here down this way, so I just want to make sure we didn't damage any solar panels. Well, they're a little bit dirty, but they're not broken. Chimney does look a little funny without the cap on there. So this is a twist lock, so you got to get it to just twist it really fast, and it'll jam on there. Now it won't come off. So hopefully it stays this time. I'll tell you what though, when you're up on top of this roof, this is the best view up here, that is for sure. And yesterday they came and they put the beet juice in the tractor tires. So now both these tractors weigh a lot more than they did before. That's a lot of weight added close to the ground. That's gonna help the tractor be more stable, especially like on inclines or on hills. And then it's also gonna add a lot of weight to the rear of the tractor, so that it will balance out the loader. The loader on these tractors would actually lift the rear tires of the tractor. So you always had to have weight on the back to lift anything heavy. And now they're just gonna have weight added to them all the time. And then you can still add additional weight to the back if you need to. So hopefully now the tractors are gonna be able, at least be able to use the loaders to the capability that they have. And then in the barnyard where everything's all angled, hopefully the tractors are a lot more stable working in there. So I know sometime in the next few weeks they're gonna come and spread 24 tons of lime on this front field. So I wanna get where we burnt this brush pile all cleaned up. So all of the wood here that didn't burn, we're gonna haul that off to the other brush pile. We brought our magnetic pickup tool here to pick up any fencing that may be left. And then after that, I've got the backhoe on the tractor. We're gonna dig a hole here and bury all of the charcoal and ash that's left over. Nail. All right, we've gone through the pile. We're hardly finding any metal now. I think we've got most of it picked up. Rebecca switched to a shovel. You said it's actually still warm inside.
Yeah, I was just reaching down, scooping with my hand, and I felt a pretty warm spot.
Yeah, so it's been at least a week since we burned this, and it's still got some residual heat there. So we'll probably look for a few more minutes and see if we can find any fencing surrounding this, and then probably right about where the tractor's actually sitting, we'll take off about the first 4 inches of topsoil and take that off. We'll put it to the side, and then we'll use the backhoe, make a nice big hole, and then we'll push all of the ash and charcoal in it. And if you look at this, you can tell, hopefully you can tell, this is all pretty much just ash and charcoal that's left here in this pile. So I think I'm to the point where I'm ready to push the ash, the charcoal into the pit and bury it. Hopefully you guys can see this is not trash, okay? There's little pieces of wood in here. There's bigger pieces of charcoal, some smaller pieces of charcoal. There's a little bit of a few pieces, I think, of concrete, but it's not trash, okay? This is like stuff that would come out of your fire pit or out of your fireplace. And we're just gonna go ahead and bury it, and we're gonna kind of ensure that we don't have any pieces of fencing on top of here to get in an animal's foot. That's kind of the big thing here, is to just, if there is any little pieces left, we don't want anything up here to hurt the animals. So we're just gonna bury this, and then the very last layer, we'll take the topsoil we took off at the very beginning. That's our last layer we're gonna put on top, and hopefully everything will look nice when we're done. All right, the hole I dug, it's all covered up now. I put the topsoil on last, tried to spread it all out, and there's probably at least a couple inches of topsoil spread out over this whole thing. So I think everything looks pretty good, and at least that's behind us now. So I had someone ask if the scrapyard ended up taking all of the field fencing that was left over after we burnt that brush pile. And the answer is, it's actually still on the trailer. So after we loaded this up, I got on, I checked their Facebook page, and the scrapyard had closed, and they were for a few weeks, and they just posted that they're going to open back up next week. So I'm hoping that I'll finally get to take this to the scrapyard, and I don't expect to get any money for this. This probably has no value whatsoever, really. If I will be happy as long as they take it. That's really all I'm shooting for. Just take it off my hands. And I do have a 55-gallon drum full of like scrap pieces of metal and bolts and a bunch of stuff. I'll probably take that up there too to be dumped. But as long as they will take this, I'll be happy. I don't expect to get a dime for it. Well guys, I think that's going to be it for this video. We made a couple steps closer to turning that into a pasture. So that's going to be our biggest pasture when we're done, our main pasture. And it's been a ton of work trying to get this ready for fence. We still got another probably 400 feet of fence line that we need to take out, probably several trees we need to take out in the process. And then after that, I think we're finally ready to just start focusing on the fence bracing, and then after that, the fence. So I feel like, you know, every bit we get a little bit closer each time. There's just a lot to this to finally get it where we want it. But anyway, I think that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.